Dion, in the year that you have made appearances on this channel on video, one thing has been a constant. When the name Ian Jackson has been raised, you have interrupted me to immediately assert that he is the quote unquote point god. New York City point god is the phrase you like to say. Dion, in your wildest dreams, I don't think that you would have ever imagined that Ian Jackson would leave North Carolina, especially with me telling you he's not a point guard. Stop saying this. To transfer to a New York City school where his new coach, Rick Pitino, is now publicly declaring him their next great point guard. That's what happened yesterday. Rick Pitino tweeted, quote, last year, Kadari Richmond and Davon Smith, they were great. I'm paraphrasing. But with Ian in the fold, the ball is now in the hands of our next great point. Take your victory lap, my friend. How are you feeling?
I love this. I'm gonna make it about me because that's what we do. I'm gonna make it about me. This is the first sign of every my counseling group working. So I've been telling Ian he needs to be a point guard for a year. That's how you get to the league. Him and Rick listened. If there was ever a coach that was gonna listen, it was probably always gonna be Slick Rick. I love Slick Rick. This is special. This The reason he's not in the NBA right now is he's like a 6'3", 6'4", like two guard at North Carolina. He was playing off ball to Elliot Cadeau. An NBA team said, "Hey, we want you to play point, but you couldn't play point to one of the worst point guards we've had to watch play basketball." And Hubert Davis decided that wasn't good enough. So like you're gonna have to go do something. He said, "Okay, I'll go to New York as the New York point god. I'm gonna play in the Mecca and I'm gonna play point at home. This is special. New York point guards, the only thing they fear is the man in the mirror. That's the only thing they fear. That's the only thing they fear. We are going to see a special show this year. St. John's is in my top three favorite teams. They're still behind Duke. I'm a Blue Devil. Shout out to Brotherhood. But like this team's going to be special. Ian Jackson at point is going to be, quite frankly, the train wreck you can't not watch. And those are the best movies where you know, like, hey, this probably ain't gonna work, but we're gonna watch anyway to see if it does. And to be completely honest, next to Sanon, it's kind of hard to convince me that Ian Jackson's more of a point guard than Sanon, but that's neither here nor there. This is still the New York point god. This is a train wreck we're not gonna be able to keep our eyes off of.
All right. So you got where I was gonna, I think, try and lead you to in the end here. You called it a train wreck. Despite gassing this up and just loving this because it is a manifest destiny, it feels like from you. In the end, you are referring to this as a train wreck. Do you think this is going to crash and burn?
You know what? In the Big East, no. No, I think they'll be fine in the Big East. What did John Moran say? I'm fine in the West. Ian Jackson needs to come out. I'm fine in the Big East. However, in the NCAA tournament, I think it might be a little bit rougher. I think in the Big East, like the level of competition, they should be fine. I think you can kind of play like, I mean, between Sanon and Ian Jackson, you have multiple ball handlers. I think you can kind of, get creative with how you utilize both of them to be okay. I think in the NCAA tournament, there's elements of being a point guard that Ian Jackson's going to have to develop. That's why I feel like it's a train wreck. When it's all said and done, I think Ian Jackson's going to be a great point guard in the NBA one day. And we're going to be screaming New York point guard from the top of buildings, right? Like he might even play on the Nets and he's going to be beloved. But there's elements of being a point guard mentally, physically, as a leader that you just can't develop in a year, and it just takes time. And I think come March Madness, some of those elements that he's still going to need to develop in terms of time management and being a leader are going to be shown a little bit more than they might in the Big East play.
Okay. So I have a couple split feelings on this. I love that Ian went to St. John's. I love the whole New York guard in New York narrative. I just think Ian Jackson is an incredibly talented scorer that is going to be really fun to watch, and he'll score the basketball. He will be a big time scorer at St. John's and likely have chances to be the best player on this team. We interrupt this sleepers video to tell you about an offer from Underdog Fantasy. Cart, you love Underdog Fantasy, correct?
Course I do. Can I have a moment real quick?
Please. Thank you for that. In fact, I'm going to cut you off because our listeners like when we keep these short and sweet. Underdog Fantasy. Sign up as a new user. Use promo code SLEEPERS. Get bonus funds up to $1,000, 50% of your deposit match. The NBA playoffs are rocking right now. I played Underdog last week with a Cade Cunningham line. I'm looking forward to doing it throughout the entire first round of the NBA playoffs, but there's more. You can place picks on golf. You can place picks on baseball. You can place picks on the NHL playoffs that are rocking right now. Join Underdog Fantasy, promo code SLEEPERS. Support this show so that we can keep bringing videos to you. Back to the video. I get lost in why we're doing a public campaign for him as the point guard. Like, I want to be extremely clear. St. John's doesn't have a point guard. With the ads that they have made, they do not have a point guard. And I have some numbers to back this up, but Ian Jackson is not a point guard. No matter how many times you tell me this, he's not a point guard. Jason Sanoan, not a point guard. Oziah Sellers, not a point guard. None of these guys are point guards. Can they learn how to be point guards? Maybe. Rick Pitino is going to have his hands full trying to get them there. But clearly, maybe this is one of those things when Ian Jackson went on his visits, maybe behind closed doors, he's like, listen, the money's great. I'm a point guard. If I'm not playing point guard, I'm not coming here. I don't know if that happened or not, but it's the only reason I can even process mentally that makes sense to me of why Rick Pitino would come out and tweet this. I don't think it makes any sense to like put all this, the next great point guard is here, pressure declaration on a kid that's just not his game, unless that kid is like telling you I'm only coming here if this is the situation. So we'll see. Just to add some numbers to this. He mentioned Kadari Richmond and Davon Smith, right? Those guys were point guards. Kadari Richmond, 30% assist rate last year, a 2-to-1 assist to turnover rate. Davon Smith, a 24% assist rate last year, like 1.5 assist to turnover ratio. Those guys were high assist volume guys that took care of the basketball, didn't turn it over. You had 2 point guards. That's what happened last year. And this offense still had big time issues because neither one of them could shoot and you didn't have enough shooting around them. Dion, when you watched St. John's last year, did you ever watch RJ Lewis play and think, wow, that guy's a good creator for others?
And I didn't watch anybody on St. John's and think that they created the best for other people, to
So
be honest.
not once did I ever come away, and you're agreeing with me. Not once did RJ Lewis, I never came away thinking, wow, that guy can pass the basketball. Just to be extremely clear here, last season, RJ Lewis had a 12.4 assist rate. Guess who's that's higher than? Every single St. John's transfer ad. Let's go through them. Ian Jackson, point guard, a 7.0 assist rate last year to a 13.0 turnover rate. That's a 1-to-2 assist to turnover ratio. He's not a point guard. Jason Sanoan, a 7% assist rate, same as Ian Jackson, to a 13% turnover rate. The same exact assist to turnover ratio, not a point guard. Oziah Sellers at Stanford, 8% assist rate, slightly better, 4% worse than RJ Lewis last year, to a 10% turnover rate. More turnovers than assists. That's the third backcourt member that applies to. And then lastly, maybe you want to convince me, okay, Bryce Hopkins is the best player in this class. We'll just play through him. He's a point forward, right? And Bryce Hopkins' last full season at Providence, a 9% assist rate to a 15% turnover rate. Every single guy you've added turns it over more than he creates for others. There isn't a player in this class that has a double-digit assist rate. RJ Lewis would be the best playmaker on this team, and he's not a playmaker. So, like you mentioned, there's crash and burn potential, whatever your phrase was. Dion, that should be the expectation with this group, unless they're going to go out and get a point guard, and it doesn't seem like that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, couple notes. I gotta defend the New York point guard, of course. He was passing to like I think he was passing to Elliot Cadeau, RJ, like you know what I mean? Like he was passing to a
He
bunch
wasn't passing. He wasn't. He never passed. That wasn't
well,
his role.
the coach always told me once, one of my favorite sayings, KYP, know your personnel. That was his way of telling me don't pass to that guy after I would pass to him and he would miss. I think that's where Ian was at. KYP. I'm not passing to these dudes. I know what they gonna do. So I'm gonna just shoot it.
I'm not passing to All-American RJ Davis. That works.
What it done, Drake, pal. The other spin zone I have, so I mean, it's a train wreck because this is where I gotta call Rick out. Ian's not a point guard; he's a New York point god. We have to play him like a New York point god. If we try to make him a point guard, he's not a point guard. New York point gods, couple names: Sebastian Telfair, Stephon Marbury. Those dudes don't pass. Stephon Marbury, he moved all the way to China that way he wouldn't have to pass. He played over there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so he's a New York point god. Only man he fears is the man in the mirror. Only man he's passing to is the man in the mirror. So as long as we play him like a New York point god, I think it'll be fine. If we utilize him like a point guard, I think we're gonna be in a little trouble.
Listen, if the plan is just to play ISO ball the entire game, and you're going to tell me these guys also defend at the level last year's team did, shit, it might be better offensively than where we ended. Because nobody could put the orange thing in the 10-foot thing last year. So, like, if we're just going to go one-on-one all game, your turn, my turn, these guys are good enough to do that. So I'm going to give Rick Pitino the benefit of the doubt. I will. He's a legend for a reason. Let's let him rock. Um, but this could be a mess. Like I thought you would get Ian Jackson the fold and then be like, I need to go get a point guard, get a setup guy, and everything else here is perfect. But him just deciding, no, I'm done. That's my point guard was a crazy development for me. So if he turns this kid into a playmaker for others, it'll be one of the best development jobs of Rick Pitino's career. He's done plenty before. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, Dion, you can take a massive victory here. And I applaud you for your victory on the point god.